Namaste, namaste, precious, precious souls. Welcome to Book of Life for February. We are going to be fourth degree, lesson 7. It is going to be in the vestibule of heaven. And I put these in the chat, so just in case anybody comes on late or you're not sure of where we are, if you look in the chat, you'll see the degree lesson and where we are. Okay, all right. Well, before we begin, let us invoke so we can all become more blissful with this downpouring of energy. Go ahead and just place the tip of the tongue on the palate. Just be receptive. There we go. We release all unauthorized connections, front and back. Cut, 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 cut. To the causal logos, the supreme being, the great architect of the universe, the heavenly Father, heavenly Mother, to all of our spiritual teachers, to Holy Master Choa, to Buddha Padmasambhava, to the Circle of Seven, to Robert and Earlyne Chaney, to Burton Bigelow, Master Astara, Lord Kuthumi, Lord Rama, Lord Zoser, to the Astarian hierarchy, our celestial and spiritual guides, our higher souls, to the Lord Rabbi Yehoshua Bar Miriam, the Lord Christ, Holy Mother Mary, Lord Kuan Yin Buddha, Lord Gautama Buddha, all the great ones, Sanat Kumara, the Ancient of Days, the Solar Logos, the Universal Logos. We humbly invoke for your divine blessings. May we be a channel through which thy holy ones approach the world. May we be a center for the radiation of thy power. Teach us to travel light, that we may better gain the heights, break the bonds that bind. Teach us to give ourselves entirely to thy service, to attune ourselves to thy will. Teach us to lay down the small personal life for the greater cosmic life, and to love with the love of God in full faith. Om Tat Tat So. All right. There's nobody in the waiting room. We're good to go. All right. In the vestibule of heaven, fourth degree, lesson 7. The mystery of music. We asked Burton to explain music and the mystery of its action in this world. Music, the natural speaking voice of the divine. Yes, he answered, there is a mystery to sound, and sound invades my world as music. Music enters into so many phases of life over here. Music and blended colors and beauty, all breathing love and responding to the love of the divine being, whose love creates all spheres. In Etheria, one is more receptive to it. One must inbreathe it. For that love is all in all, breathing and shimmering, all around and above and beneath. But love somehow seems to radiate from music itself. The subdued tones affect every environment, the changing hues and tints of garments, the buildings and landscapes, flowers and foliage take on deeper and more radiant colors when musical tones are enhanced. Even the water sings. Music has a strange power here. Through it, we are taught to comprehend certain ideas. It is as if we are being told things through music. There does not seem to be an actual voice, but the mind interprets certain teachings through music in a way which could be termed subliminal. In the great out yonder, there is a sphere which, for the present purposes, we might call the mind of God. A part of each of us is linked to that great source, but it can't penetrate our consciousness more easily than it can reach your mind on earth. It requires certain vibratory waves to bring it in, and this is done through music. Through music, we seem to receive teachings which are hidden in the files of the subconscious. Ideas ride forward to enter conscious awareness on the melodic strains, wafting power and knowledge to us. Though no individual voice speaks, it is as if we are in touch with the mind of God through the inspiration of music. In the beginning, We continue to use the language spoken on earth. Slowly, as time passes, we find ourselves thinking in terms of musical refrain. Being constantly surrounded by the language of music, the mind begins to express in a strange new language related to symphonies, melodies, songs, hymns, anthems, and chants. It is not possible to describe how the language of music is employed to disclose an understanding of a higher language as well as the truths of science. But music itself unfolds glorious lessons in celestial principles, including the principles of communication. Unbelievably wondrous music fills the whole of Etheria, each of its zones synchronizing with the majestic rhythm of the universe. There are universities of music, conservatories where pilgrims may study. These buildings are devoted to the creation of music and the manufacture of musical instruments. Students here are involved not only in the study of music, but its combinations and effects as musical sounds in other ways. Some are devoted to dispensing musical inspiration to people on earth who are talented in composition, others in playing, others in singing. Some concentrate on concert music, some ecclesiastical, some popular, some operatic. Who are our natural-born musicians? Those on earth are carefully selected and, during hours of sleep, are similarly trained as receptive vehicles. A chain of invisible workers from the colleges in Etheria contacts musicians in the church, opera house, or concert hall on earth to produce the desired inspirational effect. Some music, of course, is produced by people on earth without higher inspiration. Music enters almost all facets of life on the inner planes. Indeed, everything seems to have its birth in the vibrational essence of musical tones, so that everything seems ultimately to have been created through music, including blended colors and the energies of love. The rendition of music creates thought forms or accumulations of vibratory essence into patterns, which reflect the inner feelings of the artist or group of artists. Credit for the beauty of the music must first go to the composer and then to the artists who interpret the composition. The composer should be acquainted not only with the technicalities of the profession, but also with the thought forms which it will induce. Fountains often emit jets of water, each releasing simultaneously a note of music. The blending of all the notes creates indescribable melodies, such as an organ with many stops. Earth's music is but a faint echo of heaven's music. Human beings receive occasional gleams of incomparable harmony as they come through, but it is dulled and muffled, like sounds penetrating a fog. The symphony of the spheres originates in the great heart of the Godhead and filters down through universal space. The spheres, nearer to that divine estate, are attuned to divine love. Earth is the camp farthest out. Divine love rides on the rhythm of the atoms of Earth, but a human brain, built to receive and interpret Earth's wavelength, often receives only touches of the overflow from the upper reservoirs. Why instant obedience to intuition sharpens reception? Teachers who make regular missions to Earth learn how to quickly attune themselves to the coarser vibrations they encounter. The continued practice of working with Earth contacts improves their efficiency and that of the contact. But Etherians often find difficulty in inducing the Earth contact to write the correct notes because of the impediment of Earth's coarser vibratory nature. By the time the celestial music reaches Earth, it has become lowered to accommodate the almost tangible vibrations of your sphere. Even so, a great deal of Earth's music is lovely and inspiring. Since this is so, you can imagine how glorious must be the melodies of heaven. Why does the value of music therapy lie entirely in right selections? It is known in Etheria that sound has healing qualities for the newly arrived pilgrim, those who have endured a long, debilitating illness, or who arrive through sudden accident or violence and have experienced a degree of shock, are taken to a rehabilitation center. There, instead of being given medicine, they are surrounded by music, carefully selected by the doctor for the patient. People are not yet aware of the extent to which the physical body reacts to the sound of sympathetic music. The rhythm of melodies possesses curative properties. If it is true of the physical form, how much more true is it of the astral? Occasionally, the music is completely eliminated and the soul is immersed in what we call the great silence. In this state of absolute repose, the spirit is quickly revivified and awakens completely refreshed and ready to face the new life. We often enter a state similar to this instead of the state of sleep as we knew it on earth. It is simply a withdrawal and an entering into a calm pool of stillness that we find invigorating and refreshing, much as the people of earth find sleep to be refreshing. Etherians seeing material objects. We asked Burton to explain how spirits saw earth and human beings. Do they simply float down and observe them through their spiritual eyes as we see earth objects through physical eyes? Or do they need to possess clairvoyance or some spiritual power? Burton explained that all earth objects emit an aura and that spirit eyes discern physical objects by means of the aura surrounding them. Spiritual eyes behold the rose of earth through its aroma and vital qualities. We behold your stones through their latent life principle. We see your trees through their secondary spiritual selves, and we see people through their animating auric emanations. And the life was the light of men. John 1:4. It is through these subtle other beings that the psychometrist of earth is able to psychometrize a stone, a rose, a jewel, or even a person by holding one's hand. Each object and personality emits its own individualized emanation. Spirit sees spirit. Etherians see the spiritual essence of earth's people and things. And the clarity of the seeing depends always upon the light within the spiritual makeup of the individual spirit. Government and organization. We inquired about the government on the plains, law and order there. On Earth, Burton told us, there are divisions called counties. In the United States, the states are divided into smaller segments known as counties, occasionally as parishes. Let us say that we have a similar division here. There is a center of inquiries in each county. Call it a Bureau of Vital Statistics, if you wish, in that it houses complete information concerning everyone in the county. It is under the supervision of very highly spiritualized people who have been here a long time and who do not belong to our sphere. They return periodically or remain here to carry out tasks appointed to them in this tremendous endeavor. The files are not like those on Earth. It is as if we had motion pictures of everyone's lives. The managers of these bureaus know the problems of the newly arrived, for instance. They are aware of the grief experienced, the need to return to Earth to visit loved ones, the type of guides necessary for any particular problem, and so forth. These officials are really kind counselors, ready to advise newcomers concerning the first steps in a strange new world, as well as helping others decide on occupations and activities most spiritually advantageous. They also advise the inhabitants when a loved one is arriving from Earth, if it is not already known, so that the soul from Earth may be properly met. Such supervision could not actually be called a government, more properly a counseling bureau. Each bureau is under the guidance of one still higher. For instance, our bureau may receive instructions from a higher plane that a certain mission is to be performed on Earth. It remains for our bureau to select those best qualified to perform the mission. Thus, those on the higher planes are involved in principle, while those on our planes are involved in the personal. Someone on our sphere may, with all good intentions, desire to help a friend on Earth carry out what would be an unwise course. The advisory council, becoming aware of it, advises and counsels the pilgrim to help the friend on Earth in whatever way leads to that friend's highest good. We soon come to realize how best to work with those we love on Earth in order to help them, but not choose for them, and not help them accomplish that which would be unwise. Government is by natural law. Natural laws do not need enforcing. They are laws unto themselves. These laws, easily perceived in Etheria, are often hidden from those on Earth. The natural law of thought formation is an example. Earth sees it dimly, though becoming increasingly aware of its function in daily life. How does keeping the law free you from it? Those who live in the high spheres need no discipline, no laws, no organization, no government to guide or assist them. Souls there are a law unto themselves, being near the seat of divine law. Through them, there is perfect operation of each principle. Each descending sphere sees increasing imperfection as souls tend to evade the divine principles. They think more of self than of service. Thus, the divine principles are diluted, and humans, sometimes willfully struggling against the divine stream, begin to suffer accordingly, until on Earth, some seem to resist all efforts to comprehend the practicality of practicing the divine essence. It is an easy thing to say that one should love one's enemies, yet humankind of Earth sees little practical application of it in daily life. Some people struggle to understand that when they hate their enemies, they become embroiled in the drama of karma and weave about themselves and their enemy a tangled web of future destiny. Whereas, if they could see the practical value of practicing the presence of God, they would ignore their enemy's hatred and try with all their might to love them, thus avoiding any involvement in the negative vibration. This is the easiest way to put an enemy completely out of one's life and future. The love force will thwart any effect of hatred sent toward you. In time, it will even transmute the vibrations of hate. Why is discipline the sweetest word in the disciples' manual? But humans of Earth find it difficult to make practical application of divine principles. Thus, they break themselves against them and suffer pain and misery. Laws and organization are necessary in such a system. Those who will not simply work for good in themselves and for others need guidance and structure from a societal institution aware of the greater good. Also, some individuals need assistance from the group as a whole. Thus, government and laws come into effect. The divine inner government. Regarding actual governing bodies, there is only one God of the universe, Burton continued. But there are solar gods, applying their efforts to solar systems, planetary gods, occupied with each planet, beings governing the spheres of the planets, and even master souls in charge of each vast city of the spheres. Such a master could be called a governor or a ruler, but not as Earth knows them. Rather, he or she is a guide, a teacher, a counselor. He is like a loving parent. He never actually rules. He presides. A ruler is usually many thousands of years old in spirit. Each is equipped with patience, kindness, knowledge of human sympathy, all the highest spiritual attributes. These masters possess knowledge of the desires and needs of all in their domain. They see to it that the divine principles operate. Thus, each sphere, each city is peopled by souls of like mind, living in harmony together. This does not mean I have no freedom of choice. Certainly, I could choose to do wrong, but I know better. Were I to do that, I would no longer be able to abide on my present plane. Also, my wrong would be thwarted before it could be carried out. I am wise enough to recognize the natural divine laws which operate here, and working with them brings me my greatest happiness. Working with these laws does not deny freedom of choice. How far in spiritual evolution does free will prevail? Among the various ways of doing things on this plane, there is no wrong way. I simply have a choice of several right ways. Harmonizing with divine principle actually becomes one's religion here. A person becomes more conscious of the divinity within without becoming pious. The city leaders of heaven. It might seem preposterous at first to think of a city in Etheria being under organized guidance, but it is true, nevertheless. Not political rule as on earth, but guidance. The leading magistrate, the ruler I previously mentioned, has his or her home near the central building in the hub of the city. Thus, all roadways lead toward that domain. All major decisions proceed from this ruler. Yet, under this one, and appointed by this one, is a vast staff of workers dedicated to various duties. Most of these workers are souls who could long since have departed for the higher realms, but who have chosen to remain where they are because of love of service. Since the city is composed mostly of universities and centers of learning, each center has its own president and separate departments, much as Earth's colleges. All are answerable to the city's one magistrate. These teachers often remain for unnumbered years, guiding hordes of souls through their training. Should they decide to depart for higher realms, others equally devoted replace them. Such service carries its own reward. Some spend time teaching and training in one sphere, while journeying home occasionally to higher spheres. Etherians have problems too, though of different nature than people on earth. Counselors are aware of the problems, and since they possess insight and wisdom beyond the newcomer's ken, are always able to guide you toward the solution best suited to your soul progression. Having been in spirit for thousands of years, these souls are completely capable of guiding those with unsettled affairs, advising concerning uncertain goals, inspiring the efforts of all, and acting as intermediary between your sphere, city, or village and the leading ruler. Occupations, an insight into how matter is spirit. We asked Burton to speak about occupations over there. These are his replies. Those who have some notion that we drift about as vaporous whiffs of smoke, living in a kind of dream state, are in for an incredible surprise. Nor is it a complete mental world, because even though we can create mentally here, we must have material with which to work. This is true on whatever sphere one may be living, whether on Earth or over here. Even the highest spheres have a basic material element. The difference between our matter here and your matter there is that we can mold our matter by mental action. Our ground is composed of a soft soil, not coarse as that on Earth. No dust blows about in the atmosphere and no smoke. Thus, there is no such thing as dirt, either on our clothing or in our homes. Living in a home has become so ingrained in the mind of the human being that without one, you would feel rather lost. It gives you a headquarters from which to work, a place identified as your own. I understand that in some of the higher spheres, homes are no longer desired. I had better change that to say that homes are no longer very important. Homes are there, but they do not assume the importance of one's life that they do here. Souls on those high spheres are constantly teaching others, traveling into vast spaces, and busily engaged in numerous endeavors. I suppose possessing a home becomes more a liability than a comfort. But on my present plane, the first thing we think of when greeting a newcomer is to find their home and establish them in it. If there is not one already established for them, we round up architects and builders who will prepare one. Many of those who are builders and architects here also followed those professions on earth, although you are not necessarily drawn to the same work you did on earth. Building and architecture seem to remain such fascinating occupations, however, that few leave them. If my tasks on earth were dull, what will I do in spirit? Those who are engaged in other more worldly occupations turn to the arts over here, such as music. An attorney, for instance, would have no need to practice law, but those involved in the legal profession usually quickly adjust to something similar over here. For example, a lawyer may be busily engaged in instructing classes concerning the natural laws and organization of the spheres. Some may turn to painting, music, sculpturing. Every work must be constructive, but teaching becomes probably the most prominent occupation, as so very many here require teaching. Many must unlearn ideas which they accepted on earth, and this requires patient instruction. We have no conventional educational system in itself, except that classes are organized as groundwork for further training. Whatever work one did on earth, or whatever one's passionate interest, can usually easily be adapted to be useful in life here. Thus, the effect of the training and education one had on earth often is beneficial here. Those who were therapists or counselors on earth can work here, as they did there, to help people identify and express their emotions in healthy ways, to heal from traumatic emotional experiences, which may have occurred during their earth life, and to integrate the whole soul, mind, emotion, and spirit. How learning goes on agelessly. Many who were scientists and engineers on earth may persevere in their endeavors. They pursue their ambitions based on the laws of our world, and then attempt to impress the minds of creators on earth. Often they become attached to great scientific plans for the future, not only of our world, but of yours. Gardening becomes a favorite occupation here, even for those who were great thinkers on earth. Gardening is a unique type of creating, and it is a challenge for many minds. Often, we visualize the seed of the plant we wish to grow. Then we visualize it in growth, seeing it bud and bloom. We either draw colors from the thousands of light rays created by the soft music of our sphere and shape it and mold it around the flower, or we draw threads of color from our own thought creations, that is, from our own mind, which can be caused to create a thought form of the flower. Often, we fail to create the flower that we wish and find ourselves with some deplorable weed. But if we are patient, in time, the flowers in gardens become the reality of that which we dream. This is the reason we often have flowers here that are not found on earth. Some are purely accidents, turning out to be beautiful creations of something entirely foreign to what we hope to achieve. Others are the result of an individual creative idea emerging from one's consciousness. At any rate, we have a great deal more variety of flowers, herbs, and plants than are found on earth, and far more colors. When one who is not a trained gardener attempts to build a garden, he or she may be highly successful, but at the same time find it necessary to keep holding the thought of the desired flowers at intervals lest they disintegrate from lack of thought force. Such a neophyte must also take care not to create fleeting pictures of weeds, wild grasses, dandelions, vines, or anything they may feel is undesirable, else they become a part of and mar the beauty of the creation. For a neophyte, the garden is never finished. For a trained gardener, once it has been created, It is an easy accomplishment to keep it forever blooming in beauty and in purity. The machinery for living which enslaves so many people on earth is not required here. The only enslavement is one's thoughts. Thoughts also obtain one's greatest freedom and creative achievement. In magnificent halls of training for every talent, one is taught the laws concerning the new life, a new way of thinking, a philosophy better suited to the higher planes. There are lecture halls where learned philosophers continue to teach of life here and a higher life to be. For there are always ascending scales of soul progression, and departure from the earth plane by no means bestows wisdom. When on earth, I heard much of treating to obtain desired results, holding the thought, visualizing to bring that which we desired into material manifestation. Over here, we find thought colleges and institutions. The student learns that all life, including thought force, is a state of vibration. And the ancient Hindus called it mind stuff. One learns how to paint a mental picture of an object, a flower, a tapestry, an urn, and draw around it the atomic structure which crystallizes the thought into substance and form. The petals of a created rose, the threads of a tapestry, are only as beautiful as the creator can think and feel them into manifestation. These creations are distributed among the homes of those deserving them. Many institutions train those interested in becoming instructors to residents of a lower plane. No soul on earth is without a spirit guardian, and no guardian is ever given an earthly charge without first having been trained in soul science, in mental science, in emotional science, in patience, and in the technique of spirit guidance. Some who were spiritual teachers on earth become veritable saints to those people on earth who followed them. Much of their time is spent in answering prayers of the people who call upon them, and many a miracle has been performed by such saintly souls. Their spiritual work only increases as their powers more fully unfold. Many develop the psychic quality to become messengers between sensitivities or psychics of earth and those of the higher realms. And they are trained as part of the group of teachers who inspire, guide, and instruct leaders on earth, even though the earth leaders may be completely unaware of such guidance. The welcoming angels. Just as doctors and nurses on earth are taught to supervise and assist at the birth of an infant, many over here are taught to meet those who are departing earth life and experiencing birth into spirit. One who has always longed to travel can traverse the ends of both our world and earth, and with incredible speed. If she has mastered the art of mind traveling, you can visit every spot on earth has to offer, delighting in art, music, and the beauties of nature. When you have seen all that earth and Summerland have to offer, you can turn your attention to whatever means of service you desire to undertake. If you are interested in science, the scientific laboratories of both worlds are available to you. If you are a linguist, you can assist people of earth to intuitively come to a better understanding, nation to nation, especially when different languages can block cultural understanding. If you are a mathematician, you can dedicate yourself to impressing upon the professionals on earth the best next steps in your field to move all of humankind forward to new discoveries and understanding. You may prefer to devote your service to those who, though ignorant of immortality, have passed from earth to the lower astral. Such unfortunates have woven around themselves confining thought webs of fear and ignorance. A liberating service is rendered by revealing the true situation to them and guiding them to freedom from their self-created bonds. Imagine a world where no one works as a necessity, but only for the sheer joy of service, building one's sense of self in positive and divine ways, and the satisfaction of meeting a challenge of training. Innumerable occupations of earth are of no consequence in Etheria. It might be thought that the hordes of souls trained for such occupations on earth would be at a loss to find happiness here. Not true. Most of such earthly activities are for the purpose of earning a living and not any degree of pleasure, so most are happy to discover how free they are from such boredom and burdens. Thus, they choose from among the many Summerland activities that which brings happiness and soul satisfaction. 2, they are free to leave any one occupation should they tire of it and seek elsewhere. No one is compelled to do any work at all, but time hangs heavy for the idle. Some choose several occupations since the work involved is more like a game would be on earth. Why retirement should be a useful door opener. Mind and heart power is essential in all occupations, and it becomes a challenge to keep trying to outdo one's last efforts. Like golf on earth, in Etheria, occupations become more like a challenging game to one's own record. It requires little time before newcomers find work that is of vital interest. All that is required is the wish to pursue a particular training. More than once you have witnessed the boredom and despondency that descended upon those of earth who suddenly retired from a satisfying labor with which they were connected for years. These people remember the problems, worry about how the people who replace them will handle the struggles, and long to be facing a challenge again and rising to meet it. So, do you suddenly arrive at such a state here, having assimilated the knowledge that you have departed earth life, that you are not sleeping, but that life goes on, that eternity stretches out before you? You turn your thoughts toward future progression, challenges, and achievements. Where we only have what we give away. You learn that occupations in Etheria vary according to the needs of those to whom one ministers. As for payment for services, what need is there for payment? Everything is free. You are given more or given less, according to your spiritual rewards. The one who has given much receives much. The one who has given little receives little. The one who has spread no light finds no light. Over here, the light givers are the light sharers. In the case of those who measured happiness only in terms of clever business acumen, wealth, the size of profits, money-making schemes, inconsequential social activities, these find life here tiresome, tedious, a complete bore. Time hangs heavy. Here, you find no business competitors, no one against whom to pit that type of cleverness. You may become interminably involved in all sorts of financial dealings, but the thrill has vanished because the emptiness and sham are so apparent. Some of these souls strive to make a higher meaning out of money than they may have done on earth. Thus, they spend their time helping those on earth who are deserving to receive financial reward and helping many feel the intuitive urge to give to charities and to those who are in great need of assistance. Thus, these earthly financiers are helped to grow spiritually through the influence of their business partners who have gone on to the higher realms before them. Some others of these souls, not interested in helping in the ways just described, quickly become restless and yearn for rebirth on earth in surroundings more suited to their temperament. Having given little, they possess little. They long to be where they know how to get. On earth, they found it easy because every waking moment was spent in thinking of nothing else. In this new life, homes with beautiful appointments, lovely garments, jewels, are available only to those who have spiritually earned them. Therefore, the getter may find oneself in very poor society, a place where every soul is showing. These souls reincarnate soon, not because they have to, but because they want to. They know not how to help others. They find the path of spiritual progression empty of allure. On earth, they had much, and they long to possess things of earth again. They yearn to be where their shallowness can be covered with earth's prosperity, where their inner darkness can be lighted by earth's diamonds. Not so with the enlightened. They find life full to the brim and running over. Relieved from the burden of earning their daily bread, their thoughts quickly turn to the myriad tasks of earning spiritual advancement. This is their profit. Their time is spent fulfilling the countless tasks of learning and passing on their new knowledge, guiding and being guided, inspiring others and learning how to be inspired by those yet higher, and finding great adventures and enjoyment among those suited to their environment. Those with whom they had little in common simply aren't around. They are in a city more adapted to their spiritual needs. Artists gather in immense art galleries to develop beyond the talent they displayed on earth. The creative artists of Etheria realize their deepest happiness when they are able to impress a painter of earth with their visualized pictures. Although the person on earth does not always carry out the complete idea, nevertheless, it is a matter of considerable satisfaction for a spirit artist to realize that the person has caught a transference of the projected thought pattern and that the mental conception is being executed. It is the same with poets and writers. Beautiful lyrics are composed over here and impressed upon receptive minds on earth, and in music, when a composer of earth creates an inspiring composition, it is often the result of harmonies impressed upon their mind by some master musician of Etheria. Such efforts are easier to accomplish than in situations where long, sustained contact is necessary, such as the writing of teachings or philosophical treatises. Writings, such as Astara's lessons, require a perpetual mind-to-mind continuity. The contact of master writer with earth writer in a daily flow of inspired communication. Such efforts require training upon the part of the person, whether or not he or she is aware of this receptivity. Aware or not, the writer's mind is trained to be receptive to outside influence, for only as he or she is able to enter a tensed yet passive sensitive state can she or he receive direct teachings from teachers on the higher planes. Indeed, there are many more occupations available in Etheria than on Earth, the difference being that Earth offers help wanted columns in their papers, whereas the astral only offers itself. Now is the time for dreams to come true. Even the lowlander soon learns that this new world is a realm where thought is more potent than on Earth. They discover that concentrated, well-directed purposes, especially those of an altruistic character, result in increased capacity for achievement and happiness. The occupation an individual chooses will be dominated by their inner nature, the prevailing desires, the affections, the dominant note of their character, which still prevails and which determines their attitude concerning the work to which they apply themselves. For instance, the scientists will no doubt desire to continue their investigations. They can now research into causes and ascertain the principles of nature's phenomena. The architect, the musician, the artist, the inventor, the state person, the reformer, the spiritual teacher may all prefer to continue that which was begun on earth, for they will be working with enhanced powers and in large perspectives. Does death change one's character? The cleverness and guile that gained prosperity and footholds for a person on earth is of no credit in spirit. Here, it is not one's brain power, but character that establishes the quality of life. A clever mind does not help to create or build spiritual body. Such is accomplished only by the amount of love ingrained in the spirit, in the heart, not the degree of knowledge one possesses, unless it be knowledge based on love or love based on knowledge. Some are occupied as healers to the people of earth. These dedicated souls were often doctors, nurses, or healers of some sort on earth, or those who longed to be a healer and were prevented by circumstances, or simply persons filled with compassion for sufferers. Much of their time is spent working with people as they sleep, making contact not only with the physical form, but with the subconscious mind. They learn the significance of various colors and light rays as they relate to the body's wholeness. Usually, these rays are employed in restoring diseased cells to the vibratory frequency of health. They even learn the art of true bloodless surgery. Many an ailing Astarian can testify to these happenings through visions and dreams. Many have seen colors, rays, even felt or seen painless operations upon their forms, double forms. We asked Burton a question very little related to our present seeking, but very important. It concerned double forms. The question, when a being is born with a double form, such as Siamese twins, are there two souls involved? And Burton answered, the individual brain is the means of gauging the presence of a soul. Where there are two brains, it means two individualized souls are involved, but in this case, inhabiting one form. If separation of the forms results in the death of one, it means that soul has returned to the world of Etheria. Retribution. I cannot speak too much concerning retribution, warned Burton. Listen well, Astarian. Divine justice takes into consideration every circumstance, even that which seems casual and transitory to you. Every minor incident, even minor incidents, are registered and viewed in their relation to other occurrences. Causal get-togethers with friends, a book to read, chance meetings with strangers, never encountered again. Every social incident, every spiritual effort, every business transaction, everything is registered, considered, and coordinated. Nor is this said to give you dismay, only to suggest that you consciously be aware that you are writing well in your book of life, that you consider every act, every word, not in the sense of anxiety, but rather with the idea of establishing a habit of the will to good, of cultivating kindness. Remember, the only real judgment a soul is subjected to is the inevitable result of his or her own past record. Every act and every thought of one's earth life generates waves or impulses, either good and harmonious with divine origin or inharmonious. Each individual soul must ultimately come into perfect balance and attunement with the great creative spirit, which gave each of us our being. Every impulse inharmonious with that accord must be adjusted. If the pilgrim creates sufficient waves of good during his or her earth life, they tend to neutralize or overpower the inharmonious. No pilgrim exists who is good enough to live without creating some discordant waves, but one would do well to see to it that the good impulses overbalance the bad. Happily, the scales of justice weigh every tiny effort and aspiration, and whether one actually attains in every case, the motive involved is that which ultimately triumphs. That was good and powerful. All right. Well, before we end the session, we will offer a blessing to you, if you guys are open, for the February blessing and the affirming meditation. To all those that we have invoked to, because of your thoughtfulness, the light of life shines the brighter in other lives. May your own path be more luminous because of it. May the great light of the infinite be upon you and in you and shine through you in all you do. The affirming meditation. As we go about our daily tasks, as we use the treasure of time entrusted to our care, help us be a good shepherd and a good steward. Help us fill our day not only with effort and ingenuity, but with love, and consideration. And I also want to offer the prayer for guidance by Earlyne. I love this, so I'm going to share this. Master beloved, who hast committed to us the swift and solemn trust of life, since we know not what a day may bring, but only that the hour for serving thee is always present, teach us how to be constantly alert to the claims of thy will and the call to service. Lay to rest, by the persuasion of thy Spirit, our doubts and fears. Consecrate with thy presence the way our feet should go, that our humblest work may radiate. Lift us above unrighteous anger and mistrust into faith sublime. May we be modest in our times of wealth, patient in the hours of our adversity, serene in our disappointments, and humble in our moments of shining achievements. In all things, draw us toward thy perfection, that all the world may see in us thy radiant reflection, and keep us ever mindful that we shine for thee. We thank you to all those that we have invoked to Earlyne, to the Astarian hierarchy. We thank you, thank you, thank you. To the Supreme Being, the Causal Logos, thank you. Tatatso, tatatso, tatatso. Namaste, precious, precious souls. Thank you so much for joining. Send you guys lots of love, and we will see you tomorrow for the blessing of the prayer petitions. Take good care. Namaste.